Oh, goodness gracious.
Welcome. What's up, Wednesday? You campers, smilers. Here we are. All places around the world, around Australia. Welcome. Sharing the story of the business of smiles, the journey we together. It's time to reconnect. It's time to bridge the gap. That time is now. And it all starts with a smile. Scotty, how are you, mate?
Oh, mate, I love it. I got to share, right? Because this is our commitment to this, right? Because I love this, right? Because on the internet, I'm coming from my phone. This is, and I love this, right? So, Mr. Professional, do it ugly, right? I'm in a hotel room. I'm trying to make it happen. I mean, I'm in Albury, and I'm pumped to be here. And actually, I'm going to go sideways really quickly, straight off the cuff. So I've just gone.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
But I've just gone in to have dinner in Albury, and I just grabbed myself a steak and veg and sitting there eating away, and I'm just observing people inside, and I'm sitting there in my big smiley shirt, just sitting observing. Anyway, I was just watching the people, and it's just really interesting. But there was one lady there that she had a gorgeous smile, like just a gorgeous smile. And there was opportunities, I'm sure that was going on. And I went and I've just finished dinner. I had to get back here to broadcast, but I ran to the car, right? Grabbed 2 pairs of socks, ran straight back. And I just said, I just want to thank you. She says, oh, that's nice. I said, for having the most beautiful smile. I said, I sat there, I saw you sitting there, and your smile was amazing. And I can't thank you enough for that, because it really made my night, just seeing your beautiful big smile. So I really appreciated that. And, we talk about connection, we talk about reconnecting. And it's little moments like that of just appreciation to say, hey, so Brona, I see you. And just, what a gorgeous moment. I said, listen, I shared the story of the socks. Black dots represent our dark days. We all have them. No one's getting out of that. But there is more sunshine than dark days, and the sunshine's our community getting around you on your dark days. And it's so important. And to have that opportunity, Shorty, to have that opportunity to just touch a heart quickly. My heart is full. I just love what we do, and we're going to head down another road, but I'm making a difference in today's world, right? I'm just going to share where we're at, because, at times, you have to rein me in a little bit, because I've got the big picture. I want to get this done. I want to have an impact. I want to touch hearts everywhere I go. I want to make sure I get in and people are felt and seen, and, and I've got this massive picture. And on the weekend myself, I was getting a little bit frustrated, because, things aren't working as perfectly as I want them, but we're still moving forward. And it brought up in a conversation, and I really want to thank you for having that conversation with me, to say, hey, I'm just trying to work everything out at the minute. And you go, breathe, breathe, you'll be fine. You are making a difference. Do you know what I mean? And that brings up for today's topic for me, right? How do we know that we're making a difference in the world? What is it? The world is so complex, right? There's so many things going on in the world. How do we actually know if we're making a difference? What is it? What are the things we're doing? And I had a conversation with an amazing lady, just beautiful, beautiful lady, and talking about abuse for children, and she was abused as a child. And she's opened up. She wants to really make a difference globally and talk about it and give people permission to talk about it, which is just awesome. But I said to her what you said to me, Shorty, how do you know you're not making a difference already? She goes, well, actually, in the last month, I've had 5 people reach out to me and share their stories because I shared mine. And I'm just like, How beautiful is that, right? So owning your story, gifting that pain, and that sounds crazy, but gifting that pain has actually created the opportunity for her to have more connection. And she goes, oh, I want to go global. I want to make a difference. I said, that's a great thing to talk about, because I myself, am the same. I want to make a difference globally. But I'm lucky I've got a gorgeous guy in my corner who constantly tells me, stay small. How's your community? Get into your community. Stay there. You're making a difference. And it came up with what's more important, making a big impact on a small amount of people, or making a small impact on a big amount of people. And I'm actually going to jump on you for that, Shorty, and actually ask you to bring a bit of insight to that, because you hold me accountable to that. And I'm so grateful for that.
It's beautiful, right? And I love hearing those stories and the conversations that you have, because it is so connecting. It is so heart-filling. It is so beautiful. And there's two things I really want to pick up is the language that we use. And because we set some key words of focus for us, as a team for the start of this year. And one of my words was gratitude. And looking at what this conversation is tonight, the two key differences, which is I want to compared to I am. And when we want to, this is my belief, it's always out into that future, which is great. I want to impact the world, which is great. But when we also shift it to I am, you can feel the energetic difference because you're actually doing it. And this is where having this beautiful relationship that we got, you pull me up, I pull you up, and just go, far out, dude. Like, look at the stories that we've created. Look at the impact that we've had. Look at the connections that we've brought. Look at the smiles that we've brought into this world already, and it is a beautiful journey. Yes, cool. The path is ongoing, but look where we've come from and look at the impact that we've done. So just a shift in language, try that on this week compared to I want to, compared to I am. It's hear me roar.
but I want to grab that too, Shorty, if that's okay, because it's the internal dialogue that gives you the confidence and strength to do other things when you change it from I want to I am already. Because the reality is, like, I've got big picture, but I am making a difference. I'm making a difference by touching hearts, being with people, sharing stories, and and that really makes a difference. Like the cold water crazies, they are so in my heart right now. They just own my heart. They live life. Yeah, they live. They get up and they make effort to get uncomfortable, and they spend time with each other. And but they're for me the essence of what this is about. I am doing this. I don't want to. I am. I'm doing. And by doing that, like, I spoke to Val and just had a beautiful conversation with her on Saturday, which I'll just write myself a quick note on that one too, because I've got another one I want to talk about. So, but it's just speaking to Val, like, it's after doing 365 days in a row, going out into the water, it gave her, I am doing this. Every day I am doing this. I am doing this. And she got it done. Her accomplishment for herself was phenomenal. But it's the energy it created by doing that, because other people saw it. Other people want to be a part of it, because it's that confidence, and that's the way we build together. Start with you.
Can I just jump on something there, which I think might be relevant to people tuning in tonight or even watching the replay, is the fact of overwhelm. And this is where the I want to can also kick into overwhelm. I wanted this, I wanted that, I wanted this, I wanted that, I should have, and that brings up that internal mind chatter. And then we can easily get into overwhelm and go, stuff it, I'm not going to do any of it. And then I'll go back into old habits and old patterns. And so I had this beautiful conversation with a client during the week of exactly like that. And I said to him, how do you know you're not already doing it? He goes, Like I just reframed his whole, I'm not doing this, I'm not where I am, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. I said, how do you know you're not already? I said, look at where you've come from. He goes, wow. I said, what would it be like if we just started with one habit, one easy habit that's going to make a big impact in your life that maybe, just maybe, will make other things either easier to do or actually unnecessary. Ponder that. So thinking. He goes, it's my exercise. I said, great. So let's start there. Let's start at one activity, one habit, because that has then an impact on so many other important aspects of life. And that's where we'll overcome the overwhelm by just focusing on just that one thing. So I just wanted to jump on that in relations to I want to, I am, overwhelm, bring it back to the one thing.
Yeah, I love that because you've got the book, The One Thing, and it helps you focus on the one thing so you get the one thing done, because it's multitasking is a myth. We get lost in it, you know, so to get that focus into one thing and just achieve that one thing, you know, like I often talk about that myself with, you know, people. Like sometimes to do one thing for yourself is simply to get out of bed in that day. Commit to getting up out of bed, you know, and that's a win, right? Pat yourself on the back. It's a win.
Yep.
You did that.
Yep.
You know, and it's this journey called life has got so many obstacles, you know, and to have micro wins regularly, they compound. And that's when you start feeling stronger in yourself. And so, hey, Caroline. Thanks, Caroline. Thank you. Had a great conversation with
Good
Caroline.
To see Caroline.
Caroline's from Ireland and she's part of the Mental Health Warriors. They're doing an amazing job. They're talking, the whole idea of the Mental Health Warriors is to reduce the stigma around mental health, you know, and it's, we're of the same ilk. We're working on connection. We're reconnecting ourselves, you know, and that's sideways again. You know, this weekend I'm presenting at the World Game Changers Conference and I'm talking about connection, you know, and this is part of our connection. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We front up from hotel rooms and from all over the place because it's important, you know, like right now I'm only in a hotel room because I'm actually going to go and see Alan Stevens and Angela Heiser and Kylie Hutchinson. I've only met one of those people, you know, so I'm going to connect. I'm going to go into Newcastle. If you're in Newcastle on Friday morning, look out. I'll be out and about sharing socks, talking to the local community, being a part of things. I can't wait. Friday night, King's Cross. I'm going to be in King's Cross Friday night, Saturday morning, around Camden Market. Sunday, God knows where I'll be. But here we are, out in the community connecting, you know, like just because it's so damn important, you know. Shorty.
And I think that's beautiful. I think the more that, you know, that we're getting out there, it's absolutely beautiful. And, you know, Alan, welcome. Merriweather Beach, Friday morning, get yourselves down there. And I think, you know, Scott will actually post up where he will be locations over this weekend around the Newcastle Sydney area. And I think it'd be beautiful to get out there and go for a walk, see the impact, feel the impact that it has for you, but also the community. So reach out to Scott if you want to join him on a beautiful time over this weekend. It is going to be absolutely magical. Absolutely magical.
Yeah, thank you, Shorty, because that's one thing, right? Like when I'm out there on my own, it's great. I get to touch hearts. But when we go together, like when I went into Shepparton with the Marshall family, we grew together. We really got to understand the community in Shepparton and how we can open up conversations and where we need to open them. But it wasn't part of the biggest part of the conversation. It isn't actually talking. It's actually just listening. We open up with, you know, thank you so much for doing your best right now. Can I gift you a pair of socks? And then we open up that conversation and we sit and we listen. And really, we hear once we share the story of the socks. And it's bridging that gap, yeah? We're connecting. You know, like, and I literally just sitting down putting the thing, writing with my There you go, I stumbled there. But my my presentation for Sunday morning, 3 a.m., is actually connection, right? And what is connection, right? So I looked it up. I looked up
Great
what connection
question.
actually is. Yeah. So looked up the Oxford Dictionary, and it's the act of joining or being joined to something else is what connection is. And my whole presentation's around the fact that I want to connect to hearts. So how do we do that? How do we actually do that? How do we get that connection, right? So what I'm going to do is share my story. I'm going to share photos of the business of smiles because it's connection. But it all comes from owning your story and sharing that with other people so they join you on your journey called life. The most courageous thing you can do is share your story. But it's also the best opportunity to create connection. Bar none. Bar none, because people walk with you on that journey called life. You hear their story, you buy into their part of their life too. And that's what that beautiful, beautiful connection is. When we're out and we listen, Shorty, you and I experience this regularly. We stop and we listen. And we listen to people's stories. We can't help but be connected. But part of them lives in our hearts. When we hear somebody's authentic story, you know, that's why our hearts are full. That's why we're bridging the gap, Shorty.
I just want to grab that. Why do you think, and for those watching, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. Why do you think by sharing your story, what is it about the story that enables that connection? What is it? What aspect of the story? You know, because the stories can be insightful. They can bring up sadness. They can bring up happiness. They can bring up an array of different emotions. But what is it within a story that helps people connect? What do you reckon, Scott?
That's interesting, because I often say that people will long forget my words, but they will never forget how I made them feel. So if I'm in that, that's an energy transfer. I'm sharing my emotions. Like when I'm talking here, you feel me coming through a screen. You're not here, but you can feel me. It's my passion and my intensity of just wanting to connect, wanting to be there. You know, like Alan's, they're real. The stories are real, right? So, and it's fascinating, because I'm going to go off on a real big tangent right now. It's when you speak the authentic self and you own your story and you share it, you can actually feel when someone's sharing their real story. The more you get practice, even the higher level of authenticity that comes out. But with that real connection, it just penetrates your heart. It just penetrates it, because we all have emotions and we all are looking for ways to express them. But when we can feel someone else's, it allows us to feel ours. It gives us permission to share ours. Does that make sense?
1,000%, 1,000%. And I think along with that is that it is an emotional roller coaster. And we all have the same emotions within us. And so when we share a story around sadness, well, we can also, as the listener, pick up that sadness, because it's that sharing of emotion. It is that sharing of that, the good times, the bad times, the ugly times, everything in between on an emotional level. And if you think as emotion, that is energy in motion, right? And therefore we are each emotion, and going a little bit woo here, each emotion has an energy frequency to it. And if you think about, we're all energetic beings, so therefore there's a connection energetically with each other to actually then go, I hear you, I feel you, I see you, I understand, I have that connection. So I love it.
I'm just going to grab something from there if I can, Shorty. Energetic beings. Can you explain that?
We are We are made up of energy. If you tear apart the fabric, our skin, if you break it down, it's atoms and energy just buzzing around in there. And so when you really break it down on a microscopic level, we are all energetic beings. Now we can go a little bit what I like to call woo-woo, and we can go on a different level, but maybe that's on the late night version. But if we look at an atomic aspect around, we are elements of frequency. And so when we're constantly vibrating, and sometimes our vibration, our energy can be heightened by certain things that we do or actually don't do. You know, for example, you would have seen this, you know, working with drug addicts, alcoholic abuse, all that lowers our frequency and our what we call our vibration. So therefore, it's actually harder it can be more of a challenge to actually get up and do things and take that next step and step into certain activities, where compared to those who, you know, aren't alcoholics or have drug abuse, but maybe also then act with meditation and mindfulness and work on personal development areas, which then increases our frequency. So therefore, it's how do we connect is that level of frequency with each other. And so sometimes when we look at that, we had that feeling of that energy within us. And so looking at that and that connection, no right or wrong, it's just the level of frequency that we're vibrating at. But you'll see in that, how do we connect with those people on all the different frequency? And I think coming back to the energy and the emotion through the art of story, through sharing the story, allows us to continually connect.
Yeah, and I love that, right? Because we're talking about the energy at the moment, and this is something that I love talking about in amongst blokes, because when we're talking about energy, we've only got X amount of energy per day, right? As day goes on, it gets lower. So when you're having a conversation, where's your energy levels at? Have you actually got the energy to sit in this conversation and have this in this moment? Because if you haven't, I encourage you not to have that conversation, because the energy is so important in concentration, in focus, in understanding, and not getting frustrated. Because if your energy is low after a big day of work, you know, like, and that's another thing. You work hard all day. How do you replenish your energies to make sure that you're available for the ones you love? You know, and I think we should.
How do you fill that cup up?
100%. I think we should actually do a conversation around that, because I think that's really important. You know, like it's funny, you know, like before I go into any conversation like this, sometimes, you know, I have frustrating moments at home sometimes, you know, some things don't go right. So how do I flush myself in order to be here, be present, have a smile and enjoy? You know, like sometimes I've got tears, and I'll wear them as much as I can, but it's how do we do that? And so I think we actually, we might talk about that next week.
Love to. Yeah, and this is why, like looking at Alan's beautiful conversations around this, like, you know, this is why I've got this fella sitting next to me, right, which is Superman. You know, I look at Superman and go, cool, what are the characteristics that Superman portray? What does he stand for? Who does he stand for? And it's like, for me, my interpretation of Superman is strength, loyalty, trust, of service. And so whenever I look at Superman, I'm about to go into a meeting, I'm like, you've got this. You've got this. Let's go, Superman. And so it's drawing upon you to talk about energy, utilizing that energy into the next meeting. It's like, let's go, but of service, of loyalty, trust, and just strength. So, yeah, sideline, but we'll talk about that next week. Stay tuned.
But that's awesome. I'm going to pin that, because the mere fact that you see him reminds you of that, and your energy shifts immediately, because which we'll talk about next week. But it shifts immediately, right? Because you go into that place of that's why that's there, right? So I know that, you know, and that's so important. So, but yeah, cool. Now I would have. We've gone completely off topic. That's perfect every time.
Off agenda. Agenda? What agenda?
Well, I had a beautiful encounter on Saturday with lots of people actually, lots, but one in particular, and I don't do politics, but I met my local member for federal parliament, and what an amazing human, and I just love how she was going through a tough time, and she was out in the community still representing her community. And one of the things that I love as somebody who's all about community is the fact that she goes to all the little tiny community groups and she puts them all on her socials consistently so that people in her electorate know what's going on all the time. They see them, you know, there's a croquet club, there's all these little bits. She goes to all of them so that way her community is connected. And I just thanked her for that. And I just, Peter, if you're watching, and I hope you watch the replay, I'll send you the link anyway. I just want to say thank you again, because we've been getting to know each other a little bit, and I'm really proud of you for actually being such a community member and focusing on supporting your community. Like, that's all it takes. Like, the actual photo for today, the link was actually Sam Birrell, who's a national MP, or running in Shepparton, right? Whatever one that is. Now, put that photo up. It's another guy that, politics aside, he's an amazing guy. He's involved in parkrun, and he loves volunteering just as much as he does the running side of it. And he runs all the time because he wants to be involved in his community. And I can't help but think, with people like that actually in and amongst our communities that do for our communities, I think that's pretty awesome. You know, I've actually gives me hope that we're going to go somewhere really nice in the future.
Mm.
Yeah. So sorry.
And I think on that, yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, take the label out of what they do. They're still a person. They're still out in the community connecting. They're still doing the best that they can with the resources that they've got. And I think that's the beauty of people within the community, helping the community, for the community, with the community. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. And so the more we can get out into our communities, now that we can, you know, start to get out a little bit into the communities, and just to acknowledge people, it starts to bring everyone together as a community. And I think this is what is so needed right now, is to bring back the community essence of helping one another, looking out for one another, putting your head. I want to share a quick little story. So I was doing my lawns. Now, up here, we've had heaps of rains, so you can actually see the grass grow every single day. It's out of control. Anyway, I was out there doing the lawns, sweating up a storm, and my neighbor comes down. He goes, James. I said, yeah. He goes, mate, I was at the op shop the other day, and I saw this vest for you. It's too big for me, but this would go really well when you ride your bike. And he bought from the op shop this leather vest. And I said, and he's got a beautiful Harley Davidson, I like that he goes around. But he bought this. He was absolutely just. He goes, I thought of you. It would go really well when you go for your rides. I was like, that is just beautiful, of a man who we've known for 6 months come out and see that in the shop, bought it for me, and it was just like, oh, that's the community essence there, Caroline. Like, that's the looking, not just the gift, but the act of thinking of for someone else within the community, that this would be of benefit to someone else. That got me to my heart. That was beautiful.
You were seen, Shorty. Someone thought of you. You were seen.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing more beautiful than being seen, and it doesn't matter who you are. to be seen, and just it makes you feel as you are now. Yeah. I love it. I get it. It's funny, like we sit here, Shorty. We've never met. You and I have never met. And look at the depth of conversation. Look at the depth of opportunity that we bring when we sit here. We're so connected. And in a world that realistically, most people are saying, disconnection. Are we really? Or we now have the ability to connect more than ever before. Like I like to think, and this is a little thing over my personal views, but I like to think that what COVID has brought for us, the opportunity it's brought for us, is it's magnified what would have been here in 10 years anyway. Now, it's like anything. When we learn to walk, we fall over a lot. Social media over the last 10, 15 years, we've just got this massive big thing of advertising with Facebook, and everything has just gone nuts with all the bits and pieces and all the algorithms. We've learnt that this isn't okay. We've learnt that this probably causes us more hindrance. But that is just as important to know what doesn't work, so then we can get one step closer to what will work. So I'm forever grateful that we've had this opportunity, that we're learning how to use these things. Like Shorty will testify, I am not a fast learner when it comes to tech. I am not a fast learner. However, we persist and we work through things, and we work together through our community work, and we grow together, and we're so connected because we're doing this stuff, and we're just, here it is. I'm not sure what I'm doing here, Shorty. Cool. I'll go and do this. And, it's.
Yep.
I think we're at a beautiful time in life. I think this is one of the most amazing opportunities. And I know there's tough times coming right now. There's tough, and this is the business of smiles. But in Melbourne today, one of the biggest builders went under. 106 went bust in last 90 days. 106 builders straight away. There's lots of different things going on, the compounding pressure. So now more than ever, we need to support one another. We need to find ways to help each other, because it's so damn important. We all have dark days, but there's more sunshine. There is dark days. That warm winter sun on your back, it's our community getting around on dark days. If you're in the building industry, and this is a little plug, and I don't normally do this, but in the building industry, there's a new app called the Tool Shed. Get on it. One of the best coaches I've ever come across is running the helping out builders with the Builders Business Blueprint, helping them understand their P&L a lot better than anything else, and it's so important right now. But what we're also doing is we've got a safe place to land. Okay, we're going to open that up to the trades in the next little bit, because we need a place to talk. We need a place to be heard and be seen, and not necessarily fix, but just be heard. And I think, I'm sorry, I'm actually promoting that today, Shorty, because I just know for those in Melbourne, there's interesting opportunities coming through the building industry. We are here to support.
Yeah.
What didn't we talk about tonight?
So as we wrap up, a couple of little announcements. We've got the 4x4x48 coming up at the end of April, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So start jogging, start walking, start getting to training on that. You can come and join us wherever you are in the world. It's going to be exciting. We'll have live events coming from Melbourne and also from Byron Bay if you'd like to join us in person. It's getting closer to our October run, months away. So I'm going to ask now for some help. I'm going to ask for some help. If you know, or if you know someone who knows, or if you know someone who knows in the two companies, Telstra and Woolworths, Telstra in their marketing and sponsorship department, and Woolworths in their marketing and sponsorship department. I'd love to have a chat to them and share the story of what we're doing, particularly around in our October run when we're going from Sydney to Melbourne, sharing 10,000 socks with 10,000 conversations and 10,000 smiles. That's a wrap. What a big sesh.
Was tonight, Shorty, but look, it's a good one tonight. Like, it's a really good one. We've gone really deep tonight. You know, we've talked more about our connection, and we're really getting into our purpose. So I'm so grateful for you, mate. I really am. You know, like and this is the importance of and having the people around you to work through things with you. It was a tough weekend for me. You were there for me. We got through it. We're going again. You know, like it's just so important. So from me to you, Shorty, from my heart to yours, mate, I love you. I can't thank you enough for being in my life. I love what we're doing together. I love the connections we're creating. I love the smiles that we're putting on faces. So thank you, mate.
Thank you, brother. I love you too.
All right, people, take care. We'll speak soon. I've got to find that.
Have a good night, guys.
Is that it? That's it there.